everyone, AMR back again with another video. So in today's episode, I will be covering all of the injury reports for week 2. So there are a lot of games ahead of us. I'm also going to be covering the Monday night games, and there are 2 of them. So we really don't want to waste any time here. Let's just go ahead and jump right into it. So for our noon games, we have the Washington Commanders at the Detroit Lions. So the biggest ones that we need to pay attention to here is DeAndre Swift on the Detroit Lions side. He has been battling an ankle injury that he suffered in the second quarter of last week's game. All signs are pointing to him playing, so I really wouldn't worry about it too much. The biggest factor here is that Frank Ragnow, their center, he is like one of the better centers in the entire NFL, and he did not practice and he's out. So I think that will drastically impact the way that they run the ball. Given that DeAndre Swift still had 144 yards last week, I really wouldn't bet against him by any means. But Amani Oruwariye, he is actually listed as questionable for the contest. Didn't practice today, battling a back injury. And then over on the Commander side, pretty much rather healthy like all of them, so I don't think there's really too much to cover here. So for our next contest, you have Carolina visiting the New York Giants. So on the Carolina Panthers side, we have Brandon Smith, the linebacker, listed as doubtful with a thigh injury. Didn't practice on Friday. Christian McCaffrey is added to the injury report here as they did not practice. I think that this is purely just to give him some rest. They really don't want to work him any more than they have to. And a Friday practice really makes a lot of sense for him to just go ahead and say no. Kayvon Thibodeau is looking like he is going to be doubtful for the contest. That's really kind of sad because of the way that he got chop blocked. I think it was in preseason on a Cincinnati Bengals player. He's still listed as doubtful for the contest, so that kind of sucks. Would love to see him get out there. Kadarius Toney, he's listed as questionable with a hamstring, limited in practice. I feel like he'll be fine. Really wouldn't worry about him all that much. And then Wan'Dale Robinson. So Wan'Dale Robinson has already been ruled out of the contest. That is a big blow to their receiving core. Not that they really had one to begin with, but Sterling Shepard owners, go ahead and play him all day long. You got appendicitis popping up from Aaron Robinson. Another corner of Nick McLeod, he's out with a hamstring. And then Jason Pinnock, he's also another corner. He's been listed out with a shoulder injury. So the depth chart is really kind of adding up here, and it looks like they have Azeez Ojulari, who is doubtful with a calf injury. So the New York Giants are just littered with all types of injuries. I think that this is purely going to be Christian McCaffrey versus Saquon Barkley. And if I had to put my money on the game, I'm going with the New York Giants. So flipping over to the Indianapolis Colts at the Jacksonville Jaguars. So let's start off with the Jaguars because they literally have no one on their injury report. Either they are the most healthy team in the NFL or they're just not getting the coverage that these other teams are. The biggest ones that I'm super concerned with is Alec Pierce is listed out with a concussion. That is a big blow to the Indianapolis Colts receiving corps because Michael Pittman Jr., he's kind of nursing a quadricep injury, and right now it has him tagged as questionable. That being said, I really do think that he's more doubtful for the contest. And so I really don't know where these yards are going to come from Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan's going to throw the football. You have Shaquille Leonard, linebacker. He's out with a back injury. And then you have DeForest Buckner, who is listed as questionable but was a full participant in practice, battling a hip injury. I really don't feel like he's going to miss the contest. Let's go ahead and go to the New England Patriots at the Pittsburgh Steelers. So Pittsburgh Steelers, most notably, is going to be the TJ Watt injury where he is going to be out for a long time. I think that they said a 6 to 8 week timeline, and that's being optimistic. So it really does suck seeing a guy as talented as him go out there and tear his pectoral muscle in the first game of the season. That's never what you want to see. And then looking over at Najee Harris. Najee Harris was a full participant in practice on Friday. That is exactly what you want out of him. He was kind of nursing either an ankle or a knee injury, and he was questionable to return in last week's game, so it was kind of trending towards he was not going to play this week. And then you got Cameron Hayward, D-tackle. He was full participant. I don't have any reason to believe that he's going to be missing the contest. And then on the New England Patriots side, you have Mac Jones, who really was trending towards being out for this week's game. full participant Friday. So he's going to be the starting quarterback for the New England Patriots, and I feel that he's going to do pretty well against this defense. Minkah Fitzpatrick for the Pittsburgh Steelers was phenomenal. So Mac Jones is going to need to take care of the football, but I really do think that this New England Patriots team is going to try and get in the win column and finish this first 2 weeks as 1-1. Now going over to the New York Jets at the Cleveland Browns. So a couple of guys that I think are really worthy of talking about here. Zach Wilson, I think that a lot of us know he's going to be missing week 2 as well. The one caveat is that he was a limited participant in practice. He's trending towards being able to play. I think that he's probably still going to miss week 3, but he is probably going to be starting for week 4. Now, whether or not that means Joe Flacco is going to be the starting quarterback for week 3 remains to be seen. He's named the starter right now for week 2, but that's really dependent on how he plays. So looking over at Braxton Berrios, full participant Friday. He's listed as questionable. I think he plays. CJ Uzomah, hamstring, did not practice on Friday, and he's doubtful. So probably going to be without their tight end. And then that pretty much wraps up the New York Jets. Flipping over to the Browns, you have Jack Conklin with a knee injury. He was limited Friday and is questionable. I'm going to go ahead and give the go that he does play for this contest. And then you have Chuba Hubbard. And then you have Chris Hubbard, who is battling an elbow/illness, and he's already been ruled out. So he's their tackle. I really think that this is going to impact Nick Chubb, but not terribly. When you have 2 tackles that are listed as questionable and out, that's not trending in the right direction. David Njoku, full participant. Amari Cooper, full participant as well. I think that this Cleveland Browns team is going to single-handedly decimate this New York Jets team, and they're going to be starting out as 2-0. Flipping over to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the New Orleans Saints. So this one's going to be a rather lengthy one because everyone on Tampa Bay has had their 40th birthday. But Russell Gage, hamstring. He was limited on Friday. He's questionable for the contest. I don't really know if he's going to play in this. Hamstrings and wide receivers are just so bad. They are enemies. If you have a hamstring issue in the wide receiver room, then you're really going to have a riddled season of just injuries, of question marks, doubtfuls, all the things that come with that. Julio Jones, he's battling a knee injury. He's limited Friday, questionable. I think he's going to play. He's going to be completely fine. He's just, he's older, so they're going to take precaution where they can. Brashad Perryman, knee, limited Friday, questionable. Tristan Wirfs, abdomen, limited in practice on Friday, questionable. Tom Brady, full participant. He's going to play, obviously. Mike Evans, he's questionable with a calf injury. Leonard Fournette, hamstring, questionable. Chris Godwin, hamstring. He's already been ruled out. This is crazy to me. This list is so riddled with people who are just battling all these kinds of injuries. You got Akeem Hicks as the D tackle. He didn't practice on Friday. I think he plays. Now, flipping over to the New Orleans Saints, you have Cam Jordan, DN. He is a full participant in practice. He's obviously going to be out there. Looking here at the questionables, you have Jameis Winston listed as questionable with a back injury. He's obviously going to play. If not, Taysom Hill owners, congratulations. You're going to have a really nice spot start. Alvin Kamara, rib. He did not practice on Friday, and he's listed as questionable. He's definitely going to play in this contest. He had expressed that he was having discomfort even in week 1, but he told the media that he could go ahead and play on it. So even though he's listed as questionable, he's really not. Traquan Smith, shoulder, limited in practice. He's questionable as well. Mark Ingram, he's limited in practice, questionable. I think that he's just getting older, so that's more of a precautionary thing. And that pretty much wraps up the New Orleans Saints. Flipping over here to the Dolphins at the Ravens. Wow. So the Dolphins have a rather lengthy list as well, but I think that this is more indicative of maybe people that have been battling early on in the week with injuries and no longer are, such as like Xavier Howard, who is going to be obviously out there this weekend. Big names on this list are going to be Melvin Ingram, did not practice. I think that he plays. I really wouldn't expect him to miss this game. And then Teron Armstead is the another big name here. He's battling like a toe injury. He was limited on Friday and questionable. He's not questionable. He's going to be out there. He's going to play. This is a highly anticipated game, and it's on the road, so they're really going to have all of their star power out there. Marlon Humphrey for the Ravens. He has a groin injury, did not practice Friday, and is questionable. I don't know if he's going to suit up for this game. I think that he's going to be probably a game time decision, and I really don't think that he does play. Expect him to play in week 3, though. Something to monitor, because if you don't have Marlon Humphrey out there, Waddle and Hill are even going to be a more smash play than what they already are. And then looking here at J.K. Dobbins. So J.K. Dobbins is the focal point of this week's injury report. A lot of people are asking questions. Is he going to be out there? All signs are trending towards that he is going to get some type of a snap count in Friday's contest. He's listed as questionable right now with his recovering knee injury. That being said, though, I think that he's probably going to get like 10 to 12 snaps on the day. He's not going to really do anything that's going to be too flashy. I wouldn't expect it anyway. They could have a completely different game plan based off of feel, but they're definitely going to want to involve him gradually back into their offense rather than all at once and try and just shock the system. I really think that this team needs J.K. Dobbins to make a playoff run deep into the season, so they're going to try and make sure that he is completely healthy. They've been signing all of these really ancient running backs: Devonta Smith, Latavius Murray, Mike Davis. So they really need that star young power of J.K. Dobbins. Calais Campbell did not practice Friday. I think he plays. He's been doing this all week. He's like one of the oldest defensive ends in the entire league at this point. I think he's like 38. Give him a break. And then Ronnie Stanley, the tackle, he's listed as doubtful for the contest. So that is also something to monitor in that contest. Now going into the later window, you have the Seahawks at the 49ers. So the biggest ones in this contest are really going to be the Kenneth Walker, which he was a full participant in practice. I think that he gets a similar role as what J.K. Dobbins is going to get, as I just talked about, where he's going to get some type of a snap count percentage. And really this is going to affect the Rashad Penny owners. I think Rashad Penny is a fine play in this contest-ish. He's just not the pass catcher, so I don't really know what they're going to do. It's going to ding his value at least somewhat this week, but I would say hold off on playing Kenneth Walker if you can. Jamal Adams, their safety, he's likely out for the entire season with a torn quad. So that kind of sucks. He's like one of the best safeties in the league and gets hurt week 1. Quandre Diggs, full participant in practice. He's obviously going to be out there. And then that pretty much wraps up the rest of them. I mean, you have a couple people on this list, such as like Uchenna Nwosu, and he's got a full participant label. So I'm very fine with starting up this Seattle defense. It's supposed to be a very rainy, inclement weather type of a game, so take that with a grain of salt. Looking over on the 49ers side, you have Trent Williams, full participant in practice, and then you got George Kittle. He was limited in practice with a groin injury. NFL.com currently has him as questionable. I think that is optimistic. I think he's doubtful for the contest. He's considered a game time decision, and this is someone that you're going to want to monitor. So I wouldn't go ahead and start George Kittle if you can avoid it. Obviously, you drafted him to play him, but let's be realistic here. Groins take a little bit longer to come back, especially when they happen in the last week of the preseason. Looking over at the Atlanta Falcons at the Los Angeles Rams. Okay, so Cordell Patterson owners, you can go ahead and continue the celebration because Damian Williams is out with a rib injury. He did not practice. I think he was ruled out rather early, and Cordell Patterson is going to see a ton more work in this contest. They're going to be struggling in this game to keep up. It's a very tough defense. I think Cordell Patterson gets very involved in the passing game, so expect that frequently and often. So on the Rams side of the ball, you have Aaron Donald, did not practice Friday, very standard for the seasoned vet, taking the Friday off to rest up for the big game. Van Jefferson ruled out again. He has a knee injury. He did not practice. I think that he was trending towards being able to play soon. I think that he's targeting week 4, if I'm not mistaken. Leonard Floyd, he is also battling a knee injury. He didn't practice on Friday, and he's considered questionable. I don't know if he's going to suit up for this one, so be sure to check before the game time starts. I still think that the Rams defense is a smash play this week regardless. They're playing against the Falcons. The Falcons had a very good showing in week 1. I really don't see that happening again here in week 2. Now going to the Cincinnati Bengals visiting the Dallas Cowboys. Okay, so on the Bengals side, you do get Alex Kappa. He is going to be there, so no worries there. You have Hayden Hurst, full participant in practice. T. Higgins is in concussion protocol. He is progressing faster than expected, so he is truly listed as a game time decision. I don't know if he's going to be in the contest, and even if he is, how much are they going to utilize him? Concussions can be rather tasking on a person, so you don't want to put them in a bunch of blocking schemes because that's a lot of collisions still. So have tempered expectations. Jamar Chase owners, say hooray. You're going to have a big week out of Jamar Chase. On the Cowboys side, Dak Prescott, he's out for a while. We don't really know. He was begging Jerry Jones not to put him on the IR. Jerry Jones, I don't know how he convinced him. He didn't put him on the IR, so I think that he technically has to wait 7 to 10 days before he can start his throwing exercises. He's already had the surgery on the thumb. He is in the progression protocol, whatever you want to call it. So expect Dak Prescott back in the next 2 to 3 weeks. I think that if he's not trending in the right direction by the end of the week, they're just going to slap the IR tag on him and then go after another quarterback. For the time being, they've expressed that they have no interest in doing that. But, I mean, they do have to compete at the end of the day. Connor McGovern, he's a guard. He's out. And then Michael Gallup, who is trending as being more of a game time decision. He's also been ruled out of the contest. He was limited in practice, though, so I think that he actually is going to be a true game time decision at week 3, but I don't think he actually makes his first appearance until week 4. Looking at the Cardinals at the Raiders. So this is going to be a fun game. It's a divisional game. I think that there's going to be a lot out there, a lot on the line. Andy Isabella ruled out. Rondale Moore ruled out. So you have 2 of the speed guys on this wide receiver core. They've already been ruled out of the contest. Hollywood Brown didn't practice or was limited in practice, so he's going to be a smash play this week. Kyler Murray came out in the media and told them that he wants to get Hollywood Brown the ball more. I think that Hollywood Brown has a big week here. J.J. Watt, it looks like he's officially listed as questionable. I don't think he plays. It's just J.J. Watt. He gets hurt more than he gets healthy. And so taking the extra game, I really is going to be beneficial to their overall season. They're 0-1 right now, and they're 0-1 for the Raiders. So this is really 2 teams fighting for that first win, and the other team's going to be 0-2. So we don't really know what to expect in this contest. On the Raiders side, the biggest ones to really call out here are going to be your Denzel Perryman with an ankle who is out, and Brandon Bolden who is doubtful with a hamstring injury. So I think that this just reiterates that the Josh Jacobs play is very good. I think, Devontae Adams, you're obviously going to play. Darren Waller, you're going to play. I'm curious to see how Hunter Renfrow gets incorporated into the offense. I think he only had like 1 target in the first half last week. So expect him to have a big week as well. Now going on to the Houston Texans visiting the Denver Broncos. So on the Houston side, biggest names to bring up are Brevin Jordan, who is listed as questionable with an ankle injury. That's the tight end. Reason why we're bringing him up is that O.J. Howard had basically 2 receptions for 2 touchdowns in the spot start-ish thing for Brevin Jordan last week. And I think if Brevin Jordan misses this game, it's another really good value play with O.J. Howard. So go ahead and target him if you can. Everyone else listed on this list here is really of no note. Going over to the Broncos side, the biggest name here is going to be KJ Hamler. He's dealing with a knee/hip, did not participate in practice, and he's officially ruled out. I would say go ahead and cut him in your fantasy rosters and stuff. He was supposed to be like this next guy to step up in the absence of Tim Patrick, but he's nursing injuries. I think that when he's fully healthy, he'll be very integral to how this team progresses and stuff. But for the time being, it's just too early on in the season to hold on to a player who's already battling injuries before he's even gotten on the field. Going over to the Bears visiting Lambeau. So this one's striking very close to home for me. I am a Bears fan, and I absolutely hate the Packers. And then you have Velus Jones here listed as doubtful for the game and with a hamstring. The talk of training camp being like actually as good as what he says he's going to be, and haven't even seen him on the field yet. But the Bears are 1-0 miraculously. Looking at the Packers side, you have Allen Lazard officially listed as questionable. I think that he does play in this contest. How much we see from him is going to remain to be seen. I don't really have high expectations if he does play. Looking over at David Bakhtiari, he is one of the better tackles in the entire NFL, limited in practice on Friday. He's questionable. He's going to play. And then Elton Jenkins, he's a full participant in practice Friday. He's going to play in that contest as well. And then now we have entered the Monday Night Football games where you have Tennessee visiting Buffalo. So on the Tennessee side, the only people that I'm really actually worried about is going to be maybe a Dontrell Hilliard who did not practice on Friday. I don't know if this was precautionary or not, but he had a very big week 1. Kyle Phillips, he was limited in practice on Friday. That being said, he is going to play, no questions asked. He had a very nice week 1, and he's probably just trying to catch his breath still from all of the receptions that he had. Taylor Lewan, full participant. He's obviously going to play. Going over to the Bills side, Ed Oliver didn't practice on Friday. I wouldn't read too much into this. I think that he does play. And then that pretty much sums up the Bills. So Bills are very healthy right now. And then for our last contest here, you have the Minnesota Vikings at the Philadelphia Eagles. On the Vikings side of the ball, there's really no one here of note. On the Eagles side, you have Fletcher Cox, who is a complete participant in practice. He's going to be out there. And then you have Landon Dickerson, the very young guard for the Philadelphia Eagles. I think that he plays. He's limited in practice. There's really nothing to go ahead and say that he's not going to. And then Jason Kelsey, he was full participant, so he's going to play as well. That is going to wrap up today's episode. As always, if you like today's content, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Helps me out a ton, and I'll catch you in the next one. See you.